ज्ञानयोगेन Sankhyanam
Karmayogena yoginam Na karmana manarambhat Naishkarmyam purushoshnute Nacha sannyasana deva Siddhim samadhigacchati Nahi kaschit kshanamapi Jatu tishtatya karmakrit Karyate hyavashah karma Sarva prakriti jair gunaihi Bhagavan is explaining to Arjuna two things. Only karma is not the means, much less a lifestyle is a means. Because sannyasa is looked upon as a lifestyle. But if it is not backed by two things, a proper frame of mind necessary for taking sannyasa, and second, if you don't have a proper teacher to teach, when you don't learn, then also sannyasa doesn't take you to Naishkarmya. Why? And the karma itself is not a means, but at the same time, it is not useless. It is a secondary means. We will see later part what does it mean by karma, which karma, how. But then it means action done with certain attitude. You can say Karmayoga. That is the means for preparation of sannyasa. And the misconception that one has, that ultimately one has to be actionless. Actionlessness is not physical, it is cognitive. One can be emotionally actionless, one can be physically actionless. Cognitive means in terms of knowing the self to be what it is. Akarta, abhokta. And therefore, the absence of doership, since the wise man has no sense of doership, any amount of action that is done by him or her doesn't have any phalam and therefore doesn't bind him, therefore he or she doesn't undergo the cycle of birth and death. What we say is Janma Maran Pera, birth and death cycle. He is free because doership is not there. And the other side of the doership, like the two sides of the coin, is enjoyership. I am bhokta, enjoy means I am bhokta and I am karta. That is jiva. Who is a wise man? Naham karta, naham bhokta. Neither I am a doer, nor I am the enjoyer. None of these feelings are there. None of these misconceptions are there. Therefore, I am not doer is equated to no action. So he emphasizes both the things. Karma has a role, and therefore, if you don't perform those actions, karmanam anarambhat naishkarmyam purushaha na ashnute. One cannot gain the state of, not a state, but wisdom of being actionless. Why you say? Though it is a knowledge, action prepares you for knowledge if done by proper attitude. If done by with proper understanding about the action and its phalam, then action releases you. As such, though we say action binds, Action per se doesn't bind. Our long and the way of looking at action binds. What is that wrong way, improper way? First of all, primarily karta bhokta. Action happen at physio-psycho level and owning up them to be mine, I am the doer, it binds. And secondly, our certain attitudes towards action and its result, that binds the person. Action is like two-edged weapon, sword, two-edged sword. It is a means for bondage as well as it is a means for liberation. It is a means for moksha, not directly. It is a means for moksha as a secondary means. In which way action done with certain attitude gives rise to viveka, janya vairagya and moksha. In other words, action itself makes the mind pure, ready for life of sannyasa. What is the life of sannyasa? Total commitment to the pursuit of knowledge. Mind is available for learning. That preparedness comes by karma, done with a proper attitude. And therefore he says, by giving up action, you don't get nishkarmya. This verse is similar to, this is double negative. Na karmana manarambha naishkarmyam bhusha. No nishkarmya. In the second chapter, very oft-quoted and most misunderstood verse is yoga karmasu kaushala. Especially these management guys use this. Bhagavan says you should be efficient, you should be dexterous in performing action. A person who is efficient is a yogi. That is not true. Karmasu kaushalam is yoga. That translation is wrong for a want of knowledge of Sanskrit. I told you other day, Sanskrit is a language where every noun before being employed in a sentence is added with some suffixes, and thereby it reveals its relationship with the verb. Then you know the whole meaning, and therefore you can place them in whichever order you want to. Like Ram is a noun, Ravana is a noun, Hananam, Han is a verb, Hanti means skills. When you say Ramaha, Rama becomes Ramaha, Ravana becomes Ravanam Hanti. That sentence, what does it mean? Rama is a subject, Ravanam is an object, Hananam is an action. So there is a Rama, person called Rama, kills another person called Ravana. Rama kills Ravana. Translation, Ramaha Ravanam Hanti. That being a case, you can place the nouns anywhere. Ravanam, Ramaha, Hanti. Hanti, Ravanam, Rama. Hanti, Ramaha, Ravanam. Anyway, because Ramaha declares I am subject. That suffixes. In English, you have order and you have to say in certain tone. Rama kills Lakshmana. You cannot say, Ravana. Rama kills Ravana. Ravana, if you say ulta, Ravana kills Rama, then Ravana becomes subject, Rama becomes object. Here you can say Ramaha Hanti Ravanam, Ravanam Hanti Rama. So you need to know the Sanskrit simple. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Karmasu Kaushalam yoga. That is how they translate. In action, to be efficient, to be dexterous is yoga. Therefore, efficient person is yogi. If this was a definition, Duryodhana must have been Shakuni must have been a great yogi. Was a great, if you want to give a better word, you don't say schemster, but he was a great strategist. In the team of Kauravas. He strategized the whole exit of Kauravas. Like people strategize how exit of a board member. They want to push him out, then they do this. No. So many. Those days there is Shakuni, onwards Duryodhana, always. Any person doing wrong thing and doing so efficiently doesn't become yogi. Otherwise all the thugs or all unsolved cases on the books of the police, they are yogis. Or even successful people, even though they are caught. He did the job. Suppose he wanted to kill somebody, he killed it. In spite of high security. The person he killed, and then the police caught him, but 50% he is yogi. It was difficult to kill him when he killed the leader. That's not a definition. Karmasu kaushalam yoga, that is not definition. That's not the right translation. Karmasu yogaha tat kaushalam. What is kushalta? What is efficiency? What is dexterity? Or what is smartness? That you have yoga buddhi or yoga in doing action. Why? The action which binds, same action with an attitude of yoga is made as a means for moksha. That is kaushala. The same problematic fellow becomes the one who helps, like this Karni Sena, this local, there is no Padmavati.
Yeah.
It stalled the release of a movie for length of time, and day before, Bombay group said, we support this. The one who was stopping it, somehow the group, they managed in such a way, they become the support. And we will now go and convince other Rajputs that yes, this should be released. That is kausala. Converting a friend into, a foe into friend. The binding karma is used in such a way that it releases you from samsara. That is yoga. Efficiency is not yoga. That is real efficiency. When, in other words, when you do action with a yoga bhavana, yoga attitude. Yoga means what? What do you mean by preparedness? In one sentence, later on he says, releasing the mind free from the holds of likes and dislikes. The whole Gita teaching primarily, about Karmayoga boils down to likes and dislikes. Likes and dislikes, dependency. Likes and dislikes are what? They are my crutches. More it is fulfilled, more I am happy. Not fulfilled, I am unhappy. To be free from the holds of likes and dislikes is preparedness for sannyasa. And that is achieved by action. Therefore, he said, if you don't act, you will not get nishkamya. On two counts. One, and that first one point he tells again in the next verse, you missed an opportunity for purification. And secondly, actionlessness is not physical. By stopping that, you can't do this. And nacha sannyasana deva siddhim samadhi gacchati. Just by taking to life of sannyasa. This lifestyle is meant for one purpose. Sannyasa, though its four ashrama is an end. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa. But that lifestyle itself is a means, not an end. Lifestyle is a means to gain knowledge. And one can gain knowledge only if one is ready for knowledge. Otherwise, those likes and dislikes, those other values or attachment will keep one away from the knowledge. Therefore he says, mere lifestyle is not the solution. Okay? And there is a lot of emphasis there is a shloka in Mahabharata, Gnanam utpaddate pumsam kshayat papasya karmana. In the human being, knowledge takes place when there is a kshaya. Kshaya means decay or destruction of papa karma, sinful action. What is sinful action? To count. Generally we say improper action. But then the extrovertedness itself is sinfulness as far as moksha is concerned. Necessary leisure inside, necessary introvertedness, if it is not there, it is another kind of papa. Like other day, see, when I told you, to go to a temple is a punya karma. Who doesn't go to Bhagavan? Those who have some papa. There is some psychological problem also. Some of them who is a very aggressive and abusive and controlling father, when they have problem with the daddy, can't accept the authority, they can't accept Ishvara also. And they give up father, they give up Ishvara also. Because that becomes authority. Then necessarily will raise, no, I don't believe in Ishvara. There is childhood problem, not believing in Ishvara, because father was all the time controlling. And fellow did not like any authority. Teenage, want to be on their own. And all the time he was checking regularly. He always wished that father should not be around. And then when he or she grows up, father is out of the life, you are independent. Then Bhagavan also goes, along with the dad. Anyway, coming back to this. It's not necessary, I should have told you. Naishkarmyam nachashnate. There are so many psychological issues expressed in a different way. You think this is the problem behind, there is something else. The person, he or she is suffering. Karma is freedom from holds of likes and dislikes. That is, this is gained through Karmayoga buddhi, and there one is ready for sannyasa. Mahabharata says that papam goes away, means mind is free from the holds of likes and dislikes. Knowledge dawns, knowledge takes place. Classic example, see this word, by the way, when we say attachment, better is to use the word likes and dislikes. Attachment people generally don't understand, but still use. Asakti, you should not have attachment. You should not be typical Hindus. No, live without attachment. Give up the attachment. Sannyasi gives up the attachment. The right word is likes and dislikes. What is raga? Understand. Raga is a subjective perception. Dvesha is a subjective perception. What is raga? To look upon a given person or an object or a situation as a source of now or future happiness and security. To see something either potential source of happiness and security or real, it can give me now. That is raga. Dvesha is what? To see something as a source of unhappiness and insecurity. One simple example, happiness. I will be happy if I have big car, costly car, 50 lakhs, I want this, then I have. Car has a value to transport you. And the difference is comfort and little security. Car can provide comfort. Car can provide some security on road if it's a good car. And more legroom and more AC and all the kinds of things. But it cannot provide happiness. To see it as a source of happiness is raga. Otherwise, all those who have that brand of car should be happy, which is not true. So also dvesha, to look upon something as source of unhappiness, insecurity. I like this American word, children. I hate it. I hate it, with the grinding the truth. I don't like it. Like it means so unhappy. Cannot stand the word when mom says, come on, have this milk. No. Come on, have. No. And if she says third time, I hate it. So much of unhappiness the child gets. For as Swamiji would say, Indian example is milk, brinjal. The vegetable brinjal. In India, some people, especially girls, don't like it. Maybe those days. So for no fault of brinjal, I hate it. For no fault of milk, I love it. If milk is milk and brinjal is brinjal, that's subjective perception. To be free from the hold of likes and dislikes is sannyasa. Okay? And therefore, he says, this is called as, we will see later on, durita kshaya, papa kshaya. Durita means raga, dvesha, strong likes and dislikes is papa. To be free from that papa, then knowledge. And therefore, Gita again and again and later on also, Bhagavan emphasizes. There is a famous verse, Yogina karma kurvanti sangam tattva atma shuddhi. Atma shuddhi means purification of mind. Those who are karma yogis, they do karma for purification. And in the concluding chapter, in the 18th chapter, when he summarizes almost most of the teaching, where he says, Yagno Danam Tapaschaiva Pavanani Manishinam. Yagna, Danam and Tapas, they are the purifiers. They are the means to purify Antakaranam. They are the means to get released from the holds of likes and dislikes. Therefore, Arjuna, never give them up. So, the role of karma is to release one from the holds of likes and dislikes. And role of sannyasa is to get released from the hold of ahankara, ignorance. But that knowledge being what it is, calls for necessary qualification, preparedness. No knowledge can take place without necessary preparedness. And that preparedness is achieved by karma. Therefore, without the backing of that Karmayoga life and just taking to life of sannyasa, it doesn't give you naishkarmya. Nacha sannyasana siddhim samadhigacchati. And more so, last we saw, nahi kaschit chanamapi jatu tishtati akarma. Karyate hyavasha karma sarva prakriti janihi gunaihi. By merely giving up action, one do not get naishkarmya. Okay, naishkarmya is knowledge. And therefore he says, and I told you in the earlier class, actionlessness is not absence of action. In spite of action, I am actionlessness. The typical example is a hero playing a role. Whatever action he or she performs, he or she knows these are the dialogues, these are the gestures belonging to role, doesn't belong to me anything. That is actionlessness. So also, actionlessness is what, where the body-mind complex be doing what it is doing, but I am not a doer. That awareness releases one from the karma phala. And why he says so? Because even for a moment, you cannot have even a day or half a day or one day. Apparently, person may look actionless, but either mental or physical activities are going on. People are lying on a beach, suppose all day, you just lie down. But this is active. This is at least off and on, suddenly like those advertisements, when you open YouTube or something, advertisement pop up. Those pop-up comes of memory, pending work, people to be dealt with, phone calls to be made, then the mind is no. Wherever telling no to oneself is also action. So,
can you turn the fan on? It's so hot.
Yeah, I think so. You have to open the window and the door. Why they kept it so full? I don't know. This also can be opened.
No, no, it's open.
It's only net. Only net.
So the air is
में धीरो राखो आवाज करता एक पद राखो बंद करता ना आवाज ध्यान से प्रकृति गुण ही कर्मा जाता. Now, what happens if one takes to sannyasa without necessary preparedness? In the verse 6. Karmendriyani sanyamya yaste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma मिथ्याचारस्य उच्यते. कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारस्य उच्यते. See, yaha aste, one who remains like this. Okay, one whose status is like this. What? Karmendriyani sanyamya. Karmendriyani means senses of action. Sense organs of action. Sanyamya, controlling the sense organs of actions. Yaste, when he remains or he lives or he sits, but manasa smaran, he is remembering at mental level. Of course, memory is always at mental level, but with the mind remembering mentally. What does he remember? Indriyarthan. Indriyanam artha. Artha means objects of the sense organ. Corresponding objects of the sense organs. Remembering them, who sits or remains or lives like that, that person is called, Mithyachara samuchyate. It's called Mithyacharaha. Means, Mithya means not true as it appears. It is Mithya. It appears to be like this, but it is not so. That is the person, that means person of a false conduct or improper life. See, this is the bottom line. There is a natural urge for happiness. Ananda, each one wants. And you cannot remain without fulfilling this desire. Why? This conclusion that I am dukhi is against my nature. And any unnatural state, any object which is placed into unnatural state for whatever external reason would always try to get back to its natural state. When it attains the natural state, then it is relaxed. I told you earlier the example, when water is heated and boiled and put down, the temperature of the water is not natural. It tries to get rid of the heat. Till what temperature? Till it comes to room temperature. Then it stops. If you put it in a fridge and convert into ice cube, then it tries to acquire heat and wants to give up. Acquire heat and give up the cold. That I am dukhi is unnatural to me. If it were natural, I should feel at home and comfortable. I am not at home in being dukhi. I am at home in being sukhi. Nobody complains that I am happy, but I am unhappy, there is a complaint. Nobody comes to me, Swamiji's, people usually come to Swamiji and Bhagwan. Oh Bhagwan, nowadays I am very happy, do something. That nobody says. For a want of knowledge, the external factor is ignorance. One takes oneself to be dukhi. One takes oneself to be unhappy. So mind always wants to become happy. Poor mind is looking for happiness. Now, the person is not ready for knowledge. Then where will you look for happiness? Either you look at the self or look at the world outside. Now one can control the senses of action by will. Close the senses of perception. They can be brought to stand still. But this desire to seek happiness cannot be brought to, the mind will be remembering. That's what happens when we do japa. To sit in a meditation is very easy. Just look at this. People often complain, Swamiji, whenever I sit in a meditation, mind gets distracted. Okay. To sit in a posture of meditation, it is by will. You can will the body. You can will the sense organs, sit like this. And when the person sits, my God, sometimes he is the next Buddha avatar. They are taught also, you should smile. There are modern meditation groups. With a smiling face you may sit. You can make the body sit, not the mind. You can will the body to be here, but mind can go to America and Holland all the way. Can go anywhere. You just analyze all the distractions that takes place during meditation. It is being born out of your memory. Stimulus is something, when you're sitting here and suddenly some car horn, and oh, it's similar to my friend Ramesh's car. Where is he nowadays? I don't see Ramesh. I should have called him up before I came. He was having some problem in the office and at home. Such a poor guy. What a wife he has. What a daughter. Just a one. Triggers. Thinking process. All caused what you remember, what you like or what you don't like. Ragadvesha. So, ragadveshas are the cause for the restlessness in meditation. Similarly, one takes to life of sannyasa, which involves certain discipline, certain boundaries, certain maryadas. Certain things you can do, certain things you cannot do. So he says, he takes 2 lives of sannyasa, but there is no Swarupananda. He has not discovered the Ananda which is himself or herself. Or even relative Ananda, relative Sukham. One must enjoy one's own company. There is no self-love. I have seen people talking to me. Sometimes I feel like telling you, please, you just ask a simple thing. I required an answer in 3 or 4 sentences. You took 4 minutes. You know, often I find this typical of my place, Saurashtra here. If you ask them, come for the camp, even come to class or come to ashram. I mean, I wanted to come, but none of my friends got ready to come. They didn't agree, so I didn't come alone. Haire hoye na to maja. Together we enjoy. That's a typical statement. Company seeking mind is an escapist mind.
True.
In a way. I don't blame everybody. Some people just love people. They love to help, they love to give, etc. But to enjoy solitude, to enjoy self being alone, that is some relative self-love. And that person can remain quiet. When there is no quietude within, there is outside also no quietude. Goes on during the day. What is the need? Therefore they give one of the discipline that is unique to this culture. We don't find Europe or America. Maunam, keep quiet for a day. They just maintain today is my Maunavara. There is Mauna day. Monday is Mauna day or Tuesday, whatever they decide. Or a few hours they keep quiet. Gandhiji used to keep that. When he used to pray, no talking. Mauna. You must stop the tongue. I have seen other people. They keep Mauna. Then they do gestures. And some Mauni Babas go with a pen and slate pen. I met them. They go there, namaskar. How are you? First they will ask my name. What is it? Swami. From where? What was Guru? They better pick it up. There is another extreme. This Maunam is, the real Maunam is, I am conscious that I don't speak unnecessary words. I often used to say this about Puja Swami. He was one person I have seen in my life, only one, who never said sorry to anyone. Never. No sorry, I will not say sorry, you are my disciple. No. Never ever he uttered a word which he had to take back. Generally, the words, listen this is a loaded statement. I talk to children as in teenage schools, I used to say this, art of talking. The spoken words should be finished product of your considered thinking and not raw material for thinking. Understand the difference? Some people utter it out and then try to justify. That is raw material. And some great ministers disown. No, I never said so. It is there on video. What you say, I never said. It is a media twisting. What media twisting? You said it. You know, just few words. So Abhijit never uttered. You know that he often used to say about his live interview with this American, some TV channel. He asked him about Gandhiji. Do you believe in Gandhiji? How what is it? He said, I respect him. He was sannyas. Why called Mahatma? He was a sannyas. Because the vow of sannyasa is ahimsa and truthfulness. He lived that, so I respect and all that. He made him commit that he follow Gandhiji. Gandhiji said it was true. Then this fellow said, interviewer, Swami, there is a statement of Gandhiji. I think some of them you may not agree. Generally, all I agree. He said sensible thing. No, let me read out. There is a statement. Gandhiji was so much of he to emphasize ahimsa that you should be non-violent. Because he had to lead the nation. And that to group psychology. That there is a group gathered and he's taking some movement, and obviously Britishers use the force. And when they use the force, there will be retaliation. Naturally. He wanted a total non-violent movement. Like if you see movie and description, there was one Dandi Satyagraha in Gujarat, one place. Government taxed the salt just to harass the people whom they ruled. He says, I will take the salt on my own and not pay the tax. And he took it. The British, it was a well-declared agitation, waiting, and they gave him and arrested, and they kept beating. Some people may retaliate and may turn into violent movement. So he used to say, no retaliation. If they give one, take second. So to emphasize ahimsa, see, you should know the context. People without context quote this and they try to follow also. Some people I have seen. So he said, when Gandhi said, if somebody gives a slap on one cheek, I will show the other one. Come on, I am ready for another. That is his statement. But was told in context of freedom movement. I want totally non-violent. This fellow said to Swamiji, what is your take on this? If he gives me one, I show him the second. That means if Swamiji says, I agree, come on, I'll give you right now one. And if I say don't agree, then all previous statements will be falsified. It will go wrong. What you said, you don't mean it. Swamiji gave a very right answer. He said, it is true, I would do that, but provided I get one. I will not get into a situation that I have to get one. I will not get it. I will never create a situation where I can get one. If I have created, I deserve second. So he has never say sorry in this sense, not arrogance. That means what? One can sit at will, control the body at a given place, in a given position, but not the mind. And he says, Karmendriyani Sanyam, withholding the sense organs of action. Sense organs of actions are supposed to act, stopping them from action, not expressing themselves. See, the very word is sense organs of action implies somebody makes them act. Like it is like the wheel of the car. It doesn't move by itself. It is the engine which makes it move. You stop the wheel, good, no movement. But there are two ways of stopping the movements of the wheel. Either you switch off the engine or you keep the engine on and pull the brake. That is the second person, second type he is here. Karmendriyani Sanyam. He has withdrawn all the senses of action, control them, not letting them to express it out. And what does he do? Aste, sits quiet. That's good. No, Manasasmaran. The fellow is remembering mentally. What does he remember? He or she? Exactly like meditation. That raga vastu, what gave him or her happiness in the past, all those will come. Generally, dvesha. Okay, in meditation, all pain comes out. Because most of the time, this is a typical human habit. Keep complaining of what the problems are. And they can't enjoy what some good things have been gifted to them. What I have not, what is improper with me, that is goes on. What I have, can't enjoy. So when you sit for meditation, most of the time those dvesha only come out, complaints. Anyway, this person, he sits in meditation or takes to life of sannyasa, where sense organs are not officially allowed to indulge. What happens? Manasa smaran. The translation should be remembering, mentally remembering, but often brooding over them. That is called mithyachara. That's a false achara, false lifestyle, that's a false conduct. To such a person, this lifestyle of sense withdrawal will not be fruitful. The withdrawal should be effortless, voluntary, not forceful. Therefore I said you are not to see vairagya is not giving up the sense organs. Vairagya is growing out of that sense organ. You grow out of the need to enjoy. You grow out of the need to possess. You grow out of the need to be in contact with. Exactly like I said the other day, a grandfather playing a game of business. Chandi Road, Grant Road, BG Company, all that houses, you have houses?
Monopoly.
Monopoly.
Whatever you call it, we call it house business here. You have these different houses and you take a rent that from the fellow players. Those currency notes were real when we were children. I should have more money. I should not lose. That was strong. The old man playing with the grandkid. Nothing. But then there is a in-between state. Child is asked, don't play and read. Study. And Manasa Smaran, he had to leave the game halfway. Sometimes mom switch off the TV, Indian mothers, an Indian cricket match. What will happen? The fellow is reading and he overhears this, and neighbors have TVs and they make noise. What, 4 or 6? Then he got out. The ears go there all the way. So that withdrawal is not any which way beneficiary to the person who withdraws. Withdrawal at will of sense organ being possible, not of the mind. Raga Dveshas. You cannot stop them. It is not Vastu, it is you. Cannot keep aside. Now no more. That no more doesn't happen. So he says, even if one does, he is called Vimodhatma. Vimodhatma means what? The whole Grahastha Ashrama or life of action. What it means, is life of action is meant to release you from the holds of likes and dislikes. In other words, you act. It is meant to discover relative love for solitude, relative love for yourself, relative love for quietude. Not in itself. It is action may bind it. It is true. It makes it more extrovert. But the same action is a means to become more introvert. If done with a yoga, karma yoga. If karma is done as karma yoga, it becomes a means to make you introvert. And without without being introvert to the requisite measure, one tries to control, that is called as mithyachara. Okay? And therefore, this is the simplest way to get rid of problems. Problems and difficulties easy. So, since those days, people have been abusing this truth. Like previous verse, Nacha sannyasana siddhim samadhikachati. By merely taking to sannyasa, you don't become wise. Classic example is Ravana. He took to this cloth, nothing happened. And then inside there was a desire for Sita all the way. And so also there are Vakyas, Bhartikara writes, Surashankaracharya times and before. What he says, Pramadino Bahishchittaha Kalaha Utsukaha. Ready to take on. Very Pramadi, they don't want to do lazy type of. Then Bahishchitta, very extrovert. Sannyasinaha adunapi drashyanti. Even now such sannyasis are. In those days. You may find in Kali Yuga, nothing wrong in it. Because it looks very simple. So he tells to Arjuna, indirectly hinting, hey Arjuna, you may take to sannyasa, but inside that Duryodhana will not go. Okay? You will not be able to settle the account of the Draupadi Vastra Harana, which will keep coming to you. All those will be there. And therefore you will be mithyachari. And that's what it happened. Look at this. Arjuna was forced to live a life of sannyasa. What? They were forced to be in exile for 12 years in the forest. In those days there was genuinely only forest. There was nobody else, and in the forest there is a mention in Mahabharata, they came across so many sadhus and mahatmas and did satsanga. But nothing worked. All these years he tried to acquire more strength, Pashpata strength, this weapon, this fight. So the mind was written with the pain, pressure. I have to settle account, I have to teach it. That was it. So by mere controlling sense organs and making a lifestyle of sannyasa or simply living alone doesn't solve the problem. It is better that one should deal with one's own mind through Karmayoga. Okay? Otherwise, this is called as Mithyacharaha Sumuchyate. The lingas, the external chinhani, external things of sannyasa one can take up. But sannyasa, as I say, is a lifestyle all right, but more so a mind. The mind with certain attitude should adopt to the lifestyle. Mind without backing of that lifestyle, without backing of that mind, sannyasa becomes burdensome to that same person and ultimately to the society. We'll see next sloka tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha. Hari Om.